channel before, but some I have not. So make sure to stay tuned. Probably going to be a little bit shorter of a lesson here today, just because it's not supposed to be a really long list. I'll probably make a part 2 actually to this video sometime in the future. Sorry that I am late. Actually, it was my fault anyway. I inadvertently, when I said the time of the live stream, when I set it up, I forgot to say schedule in the future rather than start right now. So I think or maybe I scheduled it to start at 12 instead of 1. So sorry about that. I know some of you have been waiting for a while, but we usually start at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure that you are following me on Facebook, Twitter, all that, because if I am going to be late or I have to shift times, I will announce it there. If something looks off to you, if we're starting at a different time and I didn't announce it, then it probably isn't right. But I'm not going to blame you for not knowing that. That was my bad. So sorry about that. But just to let you know in the future, if something doesn't look right, it probably is not. And if I am starting earlier, I will let you know. So just throwing that out there. Hello to everybody out today. Just a reminder to everybody that if you continue to leave, I don't even know what he was posting, but somebody here was posting some not so nice things in the chat, and I just silenced them. So that's what'll happen. All right, so let's get on with the lesson today, and we'll get right on with it. So let me get the Facebook stream started, and then we're just gonna get right on into it. So just give me, I don't know, 15 seconds or so. Hello students, your piano teacher Tim here. Welcome out to our classroom piano lessons on the web. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure you like our page. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed. You have all notifications on by hitting that bell, because we have new lessons coming out all the time and you don't want to miss a beat. And by liking the page and all that, you are going to be notified when new stuff comes out. So welcome out today, everybody. So happy to have you with us, with me. I don't know. So happy to be here teaching you today. All right, so just give me a few seconds here. I want to just get my notes up, and then we're going to get started here. Today is the reasons why you are not getting better at piano. So let me just make sure all this is good. Yeah, that's working well. Okay, great. Okay, here. There are 5 main reasons I find that students... Sorry, hold on. There are 5 main reasons I find that students aren't getting better. Why is that so weird to say? I don't know. The way it's phrased is weird. 5 main reasons you aren't getting... Okay, that's a lot better. I don't know. All right, here we go. I find that there are 5 main reasons students aren't getting better at piano, and I'm going to illuminate those for you today. Your piano teacher, Tim, here, and this channel is all about learning all the little tips and tricks you need to become successful at piano. And if that sounds good to you, make sure you are subscribed. You have all notifications turned on. All right, let's get on to the first reason. All right. Sorry that intro took so much verbiage to get out. Sometimes that happens. All right, here we go. Reason number 1 you're not getting better at piano is you're probably skipping some kind of important skill. Some important skills I feel like you definitely should pay attention to when learning piano that students often neglect are: 1, reading music. Yes, you do need to read music. Is it absolutely necessary? No. There are some people that can play by ear entirely. You're probably not one of them. And even if you are, the more information you can give your brain to build off of in terms of being able to process the music, the better. So even if you are good at your ears, if you learn how to read music and learn all the other skills I'm going to tell you about, it really gives your brain so much more to grab a hold of, because even if you're really good with your ears, they're not perfect. You're not going to hear every little nuance, but you might collectively see them and be able to analyze every nuance if you learn how to read music. Which brings me to the other thing a lot of students neglect. Um, One of the important skills is music theory, which is just the theory behind how music works. What are chords? How are they built? What types of notes are being used in the right hand and the left hand, things like that. So, again, giving yourself more and more things to go on. Ear training is the other thing that I neglected for a long time. I didn't even know you were supposed to practice it until I went to college. But ear training, again, if you are more on the reading side, say you're really good at reading music, really good at analyzing music theory, you probably then want to spend more time on ear training for the opposite reasons, those same reasons on the opposite side, to give yourself more and more information to go on. Admittedly, me, myself, I need to spend more time on ear training. Okay. And then a rhythm. Bleh. And then rhythm is another skill that students, they might learn the basics on rhythm, but they don't really follow through and practice different rhythm patterns. They kind of, when they find really difficult rhythms in their music, they just kind of skip over them. Big mistake. So rhythm is another one. So make sure you pay attention to all of those things, all of those necessary skills to learn piano. It's so much more than listening by ear. It's so much more than just reading notes on a page. All right. The second big reason is that students will often waste their time practicing due to lack of focus, not having skills or goals. Having goals is super, super important. I recommend once a month, write down the goals that you're trying to accomplish when learning piano. So there are macro goals, which are the bigger goals you want to accomplish. So learning piano is at the top of those. And then maybe things like scales, pieces, and whatever you're working on is underneath that. And then you want to branch out them into micro goals, which is like, okay, you need to learn how to play scales. How are you going to do that, right? Maybe you'll start with learning the C scale and then the G scale. So you're going to then go through each scale and make those a goal that you want to achieve. And by writing down your goals, it gives you so much more direction when you're learning piano, rather than you'd be surprised, or maybe not surprised, that if you sit down and play piano every day and practice piano, that over time it's really easy to lose track of like the goals that you're shooting for. So then it kind of results in this meandering where, yeah, sure, you're probably getting better at a piece or two here or there, but you're not really focusing in on those goals. Wasting time is the other part of this. So students will often, um, you know, learn pieces that are easier for them to learn and more fun, which is great. You do want to maybe learn a piece or two and have it part of your practice regimen that is a bit easier and a bit more fun. The thing is that if it's, too easy, or if it's not really within your objective goals, rather, it's really not going to be getting you anywhere, right? So, if you want to get better at playing scales, you should probably pick a piece that involves a lot of scales. If you pick something really easy that's not really geared towards that, it's not going to be helping you as much through that. Again, you do want to be practicing something that's a little bit easier, more fun, just to kind of, cleanse your palate. You don't want to be absolutely challenging yourself all the time. You might get burned out, but it is important to challenge yourself and get pieces that are in line with the goals you're trying to achieve. Okay. Okay, this brings me to the third thing, which is playing pieces that are too easy or too difficult. Now, I'm going to talk about too difficult first. Playing pieces that are too difficult will make you frustrated. They will not challenge you. They will not develop your skills to that next level. So it is important to pick a piece that's challenging, but not too challenging, or else it will crush you. You'll actually be, you will be. It will take you much longer to get through the piece, and at the same time, you're not going to be able to drill through the really, really complicated stuff just because you haven't learned that yet. You need to start from the easier pieces and gradually work your way up. Playing things on the too easy side, which is what I'll talk about now, obviously you're just not going to get much out of it. So, in terms of reaching your goals, which I already talked about. All right, let's go on to the next thing. All right, I want to check in with the chat really quick, just make sure everything is good to go. I do have my coffee today. It's actually filled with water this time. Actually drank my coffee a little bit earlier, but good. I'm glad to have everybody with us. We got about 50 people here. That's really good. Okay, here we go. So this lesson, if you haven't figured it out, is going to be a lot of talking, and I know some people don't like those lessons as much, but sometimes they are really helpful. First of all, it gives you face time with me a bit more, and sometimes it's just better to set up an overall strategy. So I know that I'm not getting into the nitty-gritty of each thing here, but that's not the point today. Here we go. Yes. Okay, so maybe you're practicing the right things, you're shooting for the right amount of challenge, you are practicing every once in a while, but are you practicing consistently enough? Practicing a little bit consistently over a large period of time is what you want to shoot for. Now, obviously, we're adults, most of us. Even if you're not, you have other things going on, school, work, family stuff, so many things going on. So chances are you're probably going to miss at least a couple of days out of the week. But you want to aim for, it's better to get a smaller amount of practice over a larger period of time than it is to get a ton of practice only on 1 or 2 days. Again, if that's all you can do, go for it. But just keep in mind it's better to spread them out. And if you're struggling, even if you are doing everything else right, you might want to try to get more practice days in, if possible, and maybe even shorten each one if that helps you accomplish that goal. Okay, this one's a big one. Okay, the last thing is not being late. Man, let me start that again. The fifth reason you're not getting better is you're probably not correcting the mistakes when you play. So a lot of students, when they make a mistake, they just keep going because they're just trying to get to the end of the piece. That's a big mistake. You always want to go back and correct your mistakes as best as possible, because one, your piece will sound a lot better, and two, you'll actually be getting better at piano since you'll be correcting the things that go wrong, right? Since a big part of being successful isn't just getting everything right the first time, it's failing or messing up, but then learning from it, adjusting, and then continuing. So a big thing is to correct your mistakes when you play. What I recommend you do is when you're playing through a piece, start the difficult areas and start your practice sessions from those spots. Okay. Hey, Avi's here. Wow, I haven't seen Avi in a long time. Okay, so we'll continue here in a second. Just want to say hello to some people here. We got Filthy Wheel here. Welcome. We got Avi back once again. It's no problem if you haven't been able to make it lately. Gotta sleep, which is important. Gonna watch the video when it comes out. Perfect. Okay, good night. Glad to have you with us today, Avi. A lady and a piano. I'm a total beginner. I am using Alfred's basic all-in-one adult lesson theory technique book. Great. I hope it's a good book. It is. It seems good, but I'm not a professional. That's a great book to have. Graham, I have been able to play easy songs without looking up sheet music. Lots of fun. Well, that's great. That's great. You still do want to practice your note reading because, like I said earlier in the lesson, how important both of those things are. Okay, so what I'm going to do, Tim, do you have a cold? Because you kind of sound different. Or is it just me being dumb? Maybe I don't feel like I have a cold. My voice does sound a little bit lower today to me as well. So I don't know. I don't feel that tired either. So hopefully I'm not getting sick. I'm trying to think about what could be going on. My allergies have been pretty decent, but I don't know. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. How to improve regular playing, please. All right, from Fanny. So I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. So not entirely. So sorry about that. We got, if you could clarify, Fanny. We got Mao. I'm just going to call you Bartlett. Thank you for your videos. I am getting the information in my brain. Well, that's good. Do you have lessons I could use to practice away from my piano? Well, the thing is that I do have a website full of courses, but you kind of need a computer for those. I mean, you can print out the material. If you're looking for something that's like away from the computer, I mean, like I said, you could get my courses, print out the stuff, but it is video focused as well. So, what I recommend for your question here is I recommend the book that somebody just mentioned, but I recommend starting with this one. Let me get you a link here. Yeah, you can get the all-in-one. All right, let me show you. I don't know if I should show you what I'm doing here. Hold on. Okay. Let me do this. I'm going to get you a link here. It is an affiliate link. I want to throw that out there. So I will get some kickbacks from this if you decide to buy it from here. Alfred, book 1. So check this one out. Great one to get started with. And again, that's affiliate link. I have to make that clear. Joan says, and you don't have to buy it from that link if you don't want. Let's see. You mentioned practicing consistently. I really need to do that. I've been trying morning mood, but I can't play these two measures. I guess I should practice more often. Yeah. So maybe just giving yourself a little bit, more time to practice consistently. That might help you out as well. Piano is a very, I would call it a clicky kind of instrument in terms of learning, because I'll be working on something for quite a while, and I just won't get it, and then all of a sudden, by just keep working on it, it will like click and everything will fit together. So, and I find a lot of students are the same type. Gusta says, I never know what song to pick. Progress, can you help me give hints on how to choose songs to learn? Getting a lesson book is a good idea, though, like the one I just posted, so check that out in the comments. Is Alfred Book American? Probably. But anyway, how do I know how to play songs? So you can use a book like that. The courses over on my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com, are also another way to do that. So pianolessonsontheweb.com, over 20 courses designed to help you learn a lot more about piano music. I'm not going to talk about too much about the courses today. What I want to do, though, so I don't forget, is I want to record an outro here. I'm not leaving yet. It's going to sound like I'm leaving, but I'm not leaving the live stream. This is so when the videos piece together, it just makes sense. Here we go. If you're interested in becoming a lot better at piano, you definitely want to check out these lessons right here. They're about the main mistakes you want to avoid when learning piano. It's in the same avenue of what we talked about today, so make sure you check those out. It's been your piano teacher, Tim, here. Thank you so much for coming today, and I'll see you, yes, you, in the next lesson. Yeah, I do sound a little bit different today. I just feel like my voice is a little bit lower. Anyway, Island says, I use Michael Aaron since grade 1. Fanny says, keeping the most regular rhythm possible. Okay. It's not about measuring well, but about avoiding precipitating or delaying unconsciously. Keeping the most regular rhythm possible. Okay. Oh, when you were talking earlier, it's kind of hard for me sometimes to figure out what you guys are talking about. Not that it's your fault, just because like everything's so spaced out. And let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. I mean, keeping the most regular rhythm possible. Okay, so to do that, you definitely want to get a metronome. So I can't find your comment above. Okay, we got. Oh, let me get this up here. We got Gusta Lumos. Welcome. Ooh, we almost got 60 people in here, folks. That's great. Even though I messed up the live stream start time. I mean, we eventually started on the right time, but you know what I mean. Okay. Can you show us Fur Elise with the camera on the piano? I mean, if you have time. Well, I can show you the parts I remember. Oops, probably want me to move this, huh? And it's swinging back. Oops. Oh, I do not. I don't remember the rest of that part, but it goes. All right, there you go. Such a fast song, thanks Tim. Okay, my mind is blown. Well, that was all I could remember. I actually was able to remember a decent amount of it, surprisingly. I do use a metronome, but it does not help always expression-wise. So yeah, Fanny, you want to use a metronome, and then not use it, but keep the timing. I don't know. I wish I had a better answer for you. You're right that the metronome does kind of ruin the expressiveness, but you have to kind of it's kind of a trade off, right? So if you're working on exact rhythm, then you should use your metronome, and then once you get that down, maybe not use the metronome anymore, and then kind of go on your own devices after that. Hey, I want to thank Jeremy for the $20 super chat. Really, really appreciated. Really, really appreciate that. Hope if I could use proper English here. So thank you so much, Jeremy. Really appreciate your support. We got Karen back once again. Lovely. Thank you so much, Karen. Glad to have you join us once again. Charles says he has a metronome built in. So the cool thing about metronomes is you can get them free online. They're integrated into a lot of keyboards, things like that. Carol says, great, the last piece of my book here. Okay. Seems to take much longer when learning at the age of 70. Well, maybe it does. But you can still learn nonetheless. Okay. Hey, Tim, the first time I'm able to join a live stream. I just started learning piano. Thank you. Thank you so much, 10 Sish. Glad to have you with us today. Fanny says, I do use a metronome. Okay, I did read that. Pew, pew, pew. PewDiePie. Michael says pew pew pew. All right. Graham says my mind is blown. Very cool. Very cool. All right, everybody. Oh, let me do this. I want to go through a couple of things. How can I get my left hand to sound fuller? Play the notes, I don't know, louder, I guess. You know, work on practicing your left hand a little bit more. Um, and just, well, actually, you know what? Practice this. Here you go. I was just trying to figure out what I should give you to practice. Practice this. Practice playing a scale, and practice playing the left hand louder than the right hand. Because it sounds like to me that it's probably a balancing issue on your part. So what you want to do is play something really simple to play, but work on balancing the left hand to play out more than the right hand. So yeah, try that. That should help you out. All right. I'm not taking requests. Don't do that. I'm just kidding. Well, I'm not taking requests. That was real. So, Samudra says, what MIDI software can I use as a beginner? I'm not really sure. If anybody wants to chime in here, it's been a while since I messed around with any kind of MIDI software. So I do apologize for not knowing that. Charles says, I think people might miss a message on a shuffle pattern that is expressive, but it can be counted. Yeah, I agree. And you can shuffle more and more or less. Tim, from Linda West. It's been a while, Linda. At least if you are the same Linda West as before. What kind of piano do I use? I use something called a Roland RD700. Kind of an older model now, but still works great. The Roland keyboards, the stage pianos are always really good. So if you got some money to spend, you're looking for something good, look for a stage piano. And then the Rolands, I find, a lot of the company stage pianos are pretty good, even Yamahas. But I like Roland. Their stuff is just really well built, works really well for me. And no, I don't get paid from them, in case you're wondering. Okay. I'm trying to learn Moonlight Sonata. Do you have any exercise for that piece? First movement. If you want to learn the Moonlight Sonata, because it's like these triplet things, well, these groups of 3 eighth notes rather. You might want to learn something like the Prelude in C major by Bach. So look up Bach, Prelude in C major. You might even want to type in WTC1. The reason I think that this song is really good to learn as a practice to the Moonlight Sonata, what you're trying to do, is you have the groupings of 3 in the right hand, where you have these like different simple patterns in your left hand. So it's actually very similar pattern-wise to what you're going for. It's obviously a lot easier overall, but I do believe that learning that piece will help you as an exercise in learning the Moonlight Sonata, that first movement. Hey, Carol says, first time I joined a live stream. You're welcome for the tips and advice. Glad that has been helpful to you. We've gotten quite a few people here today, which is great. What scale do you think is the most difficult to remember? A flat for some reason. A flat major or minor for some reason for me is, well, not always, but when I first started learning scales, specifically when I was practicing them to get into music school, 4 octaves, A flat for some reason always messed me up. Obviously nowadays I do have it, even the minor. So not so bad, but those are the ones that always got me. A lot of students in general rule of thumb is students tend to struggle, the more sharps you have, the more they struggle with it. So like C sharp, F sharp, and so forth. Okay. Oh, yeah. I want to walk you guys through what we're going to be doing the next, few weeks here. So over on my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com, there's a community tab up top. And down below, you're going to find out what we're going to be talking about and when. So, Sunday, we meet again at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll try to make sure to set that up correctly, where I'll be giving you a couple of tips on mastering your key signatures. So, I talked before about the circle of fifths, how to use that to figure out your key signatures. This is all about kind of like how to circumvent that and how to, memorize them and know, what sharps or flats are in each one. So, give you tips on that. And then Friday, next Friday is my first book review, Alfred Adult Level 1. They're not paying me to do that video either, although I will have an affiliate link. So when you buy that from that link, I'll get some kind of commissions from that. Just like to throw that out there. Actually, you have to, based on government regulations. But then Sunday, the 10th, I'm going to be illuminating you on how to actually use music theory to play piano. So I've discussed playing piano before, I've discussed music theory, but now I'm going to actually go into how it applies, which I think is what a lot of people kind of struggle with when learning music theory. They don't really see how it helps. And then you can read through the rest. We got tips for learning Bach, we got lead sheet symbols. So I've never really talked much about that on the channel. Transposition, we got sight reading apps, kind of an update to the apps video that's coming out tomorrow. So check out that. By the way, I have new lessons coming out tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday and Sunday in the morning, my time, so 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So check that out. So yeah, I just want to throw that out there. Take a look at the community page to see what we're talking about and when. I think weighted keys are a must for proper technique. I agree. Yes, Yamaha does tend to have more clicky keys for sure. Hey, Graham says totally agrees. Sharps and flats get to me, but it's a lot of fun to learn them. When I put hands together on a new scale practice, first do 1 octave very slow, which is a good idea, until it's comfortable. Good. And then repeat with 2 octaves and 4. Good. So whenever you're learning piano, you want to start out with something simple that you can handle. And like the old saying is if you want to eat an elephant, you do it how? You do it one bite at a time. Kind of a gruesome comparison, but you get the idea. That I guess it goes also along with the saying that like the pyramids weren't built in a day, things like that. It all starts with one block. So you got to start from the easier stuff and work your way to where you're going. Hey, Wilfredo. Welcome. What's new from Korgs? I actually don't know what's new from Korgs. Korg does make some pretty good certain things, like synthesizers. I think they make really good but I'm not sure about their keyboards or stage pianos. Korgs are great but pricey. Do you play any scale? You can play any scale on any octave, correct? Yes. Are you talking about me personally or just like what's possible on the piano? So yeah, you can definitely play them up high or down low, so long as you have enough room on the piano. So obviously I can't play a D scale way up here. I'm out of notes. I have a Kimball console from the 80s. Oh, that's pretty neat. Nice retro instrument there. How can I improvise? Let me get you a lesson, dear friend, because that's not what we're talking about today, and I can explain it better in a video. Excuse me. So just give me a second. You know what, dude? This lesson was from a while ago. It didn't even do that great, but I think this is the one you want to start on. This is just like a very simple, what is it? Improv exercise. So check this out. It's a simple improv exercise. I think if you want to start anywhere with improvisation, you want to start right there. All right, everybody. Any questions? Any other questions about what we talked about today? We might end a little bit early today, but next time, remember, we're talking about mastering your key signatures, so check that out. Remember, if you're interested in piano courses, go to pianolessonsontheweb.com. I do want to mention as like a thank you for coming today. If you're interested in those courses, use code YouTube during checkout to get an additional 15% off. Grant says, could your course help me even though I have a 51 note piano? It will be a little difficult. The beginning courses you'll be able to take no problem. Probably once you get to be piano level 3 or 4, the pieces might start to have notes outside of the range of your piano. You could probably modify them to play towards the middle. But I'm going to be honest with you, you might even be talking about 61 keys. Because I think there's 61 keys, 70, or maybe 63, 71. I forget. But anyway, a smaller size piano is what you're talking about. I would honestly recommend, now if it was like 76, it wouldn't be, or whatever the number is, it wouldn't be a problem at all. However, with a piano that size, I would honestly recommend getting a larger keyboard first before getting my courses. Just, throwing that out there. I just want to be honest, and because I don't want you to sign up for the courses and then be frustrated. That's never something I want. So I would rather have you have a good instrument to learn on. It doesn't even have to be expensive, but so long as it has more keys, full size 88 keys the best. But if you could at least manage like 70, some keys, that would be better. Changing keys in the middle of a song. Well, we are talking about transposition later on in this comment by Lauren. We are talking about transposition later on in the month, so look out for that lesson. So there will be a lesson out this month called transposition. Something, I don't know what the title exactly is going to be, but something transposition. So be on the lookout for that, because that will be talking more about changing keys in the middle of a song. Or that'll be like an introduction into that. Wilfredo says, do you recommend play slow ballads with a high note on bass clef? No. I don't know, it's kind of a weird question, to be honest. Do you recommend playing slow ballads with a high note on the bass clef? Sure. Sure? I don't know. I think, I don't see why you couldn't do that. Bermuller has pieces with 2 keys in them, good to practice. I agree. Yeah, so whenever you change keys, that's it's called transposition, but it's also called modulation. So maybe a modulation lesson is in order instead. But all right, looking through here, seeing if I have anything else to say today. Remember that you want to like the video. You want to make sure you're subscribed and all of that good stuff. But liking the video helps other students know that this is a quality lesson that they can learn from as well. I want to tell you right now to please check out the lesson that's coming out tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. It's about apps, like 5 apps or so that I recommend you pick up if you are learning piano. Joan. Jone says, I can play a C major scale with both hands individually, but I can't do it with both hands. How should I improve on that? By playing them very, very painfully slow. So judging by what you said, you can probably do this, right? And, probably without too much trouble. But when you put them together, maybe something like that happens. So what you want to do is just one note at a time, real slow. Take your time. And if you're messing it up at this speed, guess what you should do? You should slow it down even more. We got Kumar says, what's the best arranger keyboard you would suggest? Honestly, any of them. The cool thing about keyboards is I don't know, if you're not really a songwriter, you might not get it, but whenever you're writing a piece and you're setting instruments to whatever notes are going on, right? So you have your really high instruments up here, you know, like flute, piccolo, maybe a singer would be singing notes up here. You would have like your medium instrument somewhere in the middle. So maybe like, well, guitar can really play anywhere, but maybe like you want the guitar to be somewhere in the middle of the mix. You want like bass guitar down here. So the cool thing is like when you're playing, you can kind of make up each part as you go along on each part of the piano. So it's a little bit easier, I find, to write parts for each thing. I know I'm kind of butchering this explanation, but it really, really helps. Okay, Moog. Jane, took me a long time to get scales. Very true. It does take time, for sure. Great lesson. Thanks, Tim. You're very welcome, Marcel. Glad to have you with us again today. Bye for now, everybody. Have to shut the chickens away for the night. No problem. Filthy Will says this was fun. Good to see everybody. Have a great weekend and see you Sunday. I'll see you guys on Sunday for sure. Okay. How do you count 16th notes when playing a piece faster than super slow? Check out this lesson right here. This will be one of the last ones I link you to today, but I do want to get this for you. Let me see if I can find this. I should be able to. It's a pretty popular lesson. Oh, here we go. Please check out this lesson. This should help you with your question. This is the best way to count. So check out that lesson, please, because that will help you out immensely. And all right, guys, I think I'm going to end it there today. A little bit earlier leaving today, but the lesson wasn't really that long. Next lesson will be a bit more substantial, but I always like to kind of experiment with different lengths of video on the channel, because some lengths tend to do better than others. I mean, ultimately it has to do with, you know, how appealing the video is itself, but the lesson length definitely does matter. And some lessons are better with longer, some are better shorter. I thought this would be a better shorter one. But anyway, check out what we got coming up on Sunday. I'll see you guys 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That time, hopefully I'll remember to set up the live stream correctly this time. So thanks, everybody. Let me take a drink here. Cheers. And yeah, you all have a great day as well. So it's been your piano teacher, Tim, here. Thank you so much for coming today. And yeah, I'll see you, yes, you, in the next lesson. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.